Good evening. I'd like to call the caucus to order. Unfortunately, Jim Rapetti will not be here this evening as his wife has broken her ankle, so I'll be filling in for him tonight. Please bear with me. I will ask for nominations for caucus chair and caucus clerk. For those nominations, I will now recognize Robin Hunter, Chair of the Board of Selectmen.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to nominate Felicia Hoffman and Darlene Heike for the caucus chair and caucus clerk.
May I have a second? Second. Thanks, Robin. Are there any other nominations? Kind of awkward. Hearing none, I will call for a voice vote for Felicia Hoffman for caucus chair and Darlene Heike for caucus clerk. Thank you. This caucus is held under the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 53, Section 117, 121. We have a town election scheduled for Monday, May 19th, 2025, and our purpose tonight is to nominate a maximum of 2 candidates for each open office in that election. I would like the following process to apply. After I explain it, I will ask you to approve it. Ballots must be cast and counted for those offices for which more than 2 candidates are nominated. The 2 persons receiving the highest number of votes shall be the caucus nominees. All nominees must receive the votes of at least 8% of those attending caucus. Several years ago, we decided to allow the caucus clerk to cast a single ballot on behalf of the caucus in those instances where there are not more than 2 nominees and count ballots only for those offices for which more than 2 people are nominated. The person nominating a candidate may spend 2 minutes speaking for his or her candidate. There are no seconding speeches, but I would like to hear a clear and concise second from the floor. The candidate will be introduced at the time of nomination and may speak briefly, no more than 2 minutes if they wish. If necessary, voting will occur after the completion of nominations for all offices to be filled. All nominees must accept the caucus nomination by signing the caucus certificate with the town clerk. Please do so before leaving the hall. If a nominee is not present tonight, he or she must sign the caucus certificate at the town clerk's office by Thursday, March 13 at 4 p.m. Again, there is no vote if there are only 2 nominees. Are there any questions about this process? May I have a voice vote adopting it for this caucus? Thank you. Anyone who wishes to run for office may, as an alternative to seeking caucus nomination, secure nomination papers from the town clerk. Nomination papers will be available on Tuesday, March 11, and must be submitted to the Board of Registrars at the town clerk's office by Friday, March 28, 2025 by 1 p.m. 35 signatures of registered voters of the town of Dover are required. I will now accept nominations for the office of moderator for a 1-year term. Please. And when you come up, please state your name and street address.
Hi, my name is Kate Haviland. I live on Walpole Street, and this evening it is my honor to nominate James Rapetti for the position of town moderator. Can someone second me?
Is there a second?
Thank you. Most of us know Jim. He and Sue have lived in town for over 30 years. They raised their family here. When their kids were young, Jim was a scoutmaster. His ham radio skills have served the town in the emergency management field. Outside of Dover, Jim is a professor at BC Law. His specialty is tax law, and he's written several books on the topic. His students made up and awarded him an award for excellence in teaching. So that's, for tax law. Jim's been moderator for about 12 years now, and he is keenly aware that his role of moderator of town meeting requires him to run an efficient meeting while making sure that all positions are heard. He has a real respect for the laws and traditions that have made our town such a wonderful place to live. I hope you will join me at town meeting on Monday, May 5th, and that you will also join me in voting for Jim Rapetti on Monday, May 19th. Thank you very much.
Jim can't be with us this evening, but has accepted the nomination. Are there any other nominations for the position of moderator? Hearing none, I declare the position closed. I will now ask for nominations for selectmen. Please.
Hi, Rob Andrews, 35 Miller Hill Road. It is my absolute pleasure to nominate my friend and former neighbor, Cam Hudson, for the open Board of Selectmen seat tonight. Cam has been a resident of Dover for over 30 years, raising his family and becoming an integral part of our community. Prior to his public service, Cam worked as both an economist and in the tech sector. Cam has been actively involved in local government and is currently serving his 6th and final year as member of the Warrant Committee, where he served with me and 1 year as its chair. He has also served on the town's Capital Budget Committee for 3 years and on the Technology Advisory Board. He has also served as a scout leader for his son's troop back in the day. His experience working on these committees has given him a broad overview of the many issues involved in securing positive outcomes for the town and its residents. What I appreciated most about working with Cam on both the Warrant Committee and Capital Budget Committees was his level-headedness, fiscal discipline, and forward-thinking way of approaching conversations. He always looked at what would be in the best interest of the taxpayer and the citizen, never thinking about his own personal interest, ideas, or agendas. Cam is a true public servant, and it is my honor to nominate him tonight. The town is incredibly lucky that he is interested in continuing to serve and give back. Thank you.
May I have a second? Second. Thanks, Rob. Are there any other nominations for the position of selectman? Hearing none, I declare those nominations closed. We will now move on, and I will ask for nominations for assessor. Mr. Cox.
Bob Cox, 14 Cedar Hill Road. It is my pleasure to nominate Peter Goodall for the Board of Assessors. Thank you, Charlie. Peter and his wife Nancy have called Dover home for 34 years. They raised their 3 children, all of whom attended the Dover-Sherburne schools. Peter was deeply involved in youth sports, coaching his daughters in soccer and lacrosse, as well as coaching his son in lacrosse. From 2008 to 2010, he served as president of the Dover-Sherburne Youth Lacrosse. As members of the Dover Church, Peter and Nancy have also participated in Family Promise Metro West outreach programs. For over 38 years, Peter has owned and operated a business specializing in power generation, providing backup power solutions for hospitals, data centers, and commercial properties. In his free time, Peter enjoys exploring Dover's wooded trails, gardening, and playing golf.
Thank you. Is Mr. Goodall here, and would you care to say something?
No, just thank you.
Do you want to come up so people can see who you are?
So as Bob very nicely introduced me, my name is Peter Goodall. I live at 11 Greystone Road in Dover. We've been there for 34 years now. Kids have all been raised in the Dover-Sherburne school systems. We love it here. It's quite a paradise. So thank you.
Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, let's move to nominations for the Dover School Committee. Please.
Hi, my name is Jeff Cassidy. I live at 2 Old Meadow Road. I'm also the current chair of the Dover School Committee, and I'm here today to nominate Goli Sefer for School Committee. Do I have a second? Great. So today I am honored to nominate Goli for re-election to the Dover School Committee. She's finishing her 3-year term and is looking for more. Over the past 3 years, I've worked closely with Goli. I've seen her firsthand, her dedication, her thoughtful leadership, working directly with the teachers and the school administration. She's a parent of 2 children, one in the 6th grade, one in the 3rd grade. They've been in the school system since preschool, so she has a vested interest in continuing the success that we've had so far. Before joining the school committee, she was actually the president of the PTO, so I can't think of a better training ground and further direct connection with the community. Her passions also for children education extend beyond our community. She serves as a board member for Save the Children. Professionally, Goalie is a physician in chief pathology and lab services at Atrius Health. So she's able to bring sort of this analytical approach to things that she looks at, make sure that we're making data-driven decisions. Goalie has demonstrated unwavering commitment to Dover School Committee, attending all the meetings, subcommittee meetings, etc. So it's my pleasure to nominate her again for Dover School Committee.
Thank you. Goalie, would you like to say something?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Goalie Sapir from 35 Brookfield Road. Jeff, thank you very much for your kind words and nominating me for another term on Dover School Committee. Your support and confidence means so much, and I truly appreciate the opportunity to continue serving our community in this important role. It has been an honor to work on behalf of our students, families, and educators. Over these past years, I've been committed to making thoughtful decisions that support our school while being mindful of responsibility we have to our taxpayers. If elected again, I look forward to continue that work, ensuring our schools remain strong, our resources are used wisely, and that we always prioritize the best interest of our children and community. Thank you all for your trust and engagement. Your commitment is what makes this town so special. I appreciate your support and look forward to opportunity to serving you again.
Are there any other nominations? Please.
Good evening. I'm Jessie Hole. I'm also a current member of the Dover School Committee. It's my pleasure to nominate Kevin Bilkey as Dover School Committee member. Kevin and his wife moved to Dover in 2022 with the search for good schools and a strong community. And I know that as member of the Dover School Committee, he will ensure and maintain that our schools and community remain strong. I have had the pleasure of serving with Kevin at the School Advisory Committee this year for Dover School, and he has brought fabulous suggestions, some great questions, and recommendations for improvement to our school. I know that this experience will make him invaluable to our Dover School Committee. He'll continue to question, challenge, and improve the school committee, and the unique experience that you gain from being on the Dover School Committee, or excuse me, the Chickering Advisory Committee will prove invaluable to being part of this Dover School Committee. So I know he will be invaluable member of the Dover School Committee, and I really look forward to hopefully working with him in the future. Thank you.
Is there a second? Thank you. Are you here? Okay. Yeah. Hi.
Hi, and thanks for seconding me. This is really exciting. I'm Kevin. I live on Dansford Farm Drive, and I've been in Dover for just over 2 years, almost 3 years. I've got to know Bob actually as well on the advisory council for the Chickering School, and I've really loved living here and meeting the community. Something that I want to just share a quick anecdote about why this community in general I find to be so special, and the school is such an integral part of that. Our first year here, we moved in August and began trick-or-treating in October on Halloween. And one of the first houses that we went up to was Dr. Reinemann's house. And no other school district that I'm aware of has such a deep tie with the school and with the community. And students feel welcome here. Most parents know most students know most parents in the community, and it's just such a nurturing and rich environment. So I'm just so pleased to have been welcomed into this community, and I believe that with a really responsible school committee, we can continue to make this school board and the school, the Chickering School in particular, where my kids are, but also the Dover Sherburne schools in general, even stronger than they are today. Just a quick intro. I have two girls, 6 and 8, Emma and Lizzie. They're both at Chickering, and we look forward to many, many years ahead in the Dover schools and using the school system as a foundation for a strong community and for the future leaders of our next generation. So pleasure to meet you all virtually here, and hope to have an opportunity to serve on this great committee. Thank you.
Are there any other nominations for Dover School Committee? Hearing none, I declare the nominations for that closed, and we'll move on to the Dover-Sherburne Regional School Committee. Please.
Hello, I'm Mark Healy at Meeting House Hill Road, and I'm here tonight to recommend or nominate Jeff Cassidy for the Regional School Committee.
Second.
Thank you. Jeff brings 4 years of experience on the Dover School Committee, where he currently serves as chair, demonstrating his longstanding commitment to our schools. He's a dedicated community member and parent of 2 daughters attending the elementary and middle schools. Jeff is also actively involved in coaching, soccer, and lacrosse, and participates in the annual Boosters Triathlon fundraising event. His professional leadership in education companies, particularly his current role with a game-based math company focused on fostering a love of learning, provides him with valuable insight and innovative educational practices. Furthermore, Jeff's strong network with school leaders across the country, established through his regular attendance at conferences, offers a broader perspective on educational trends and challenges. I've served on the Dover School Committee with Jeff in the past, and I know that he brings a critical, balanced, and solutions-oriented lens to the role. Jeff's experience and purposeful questions, his dedication and leadership, and his engaging demeanor make him an excellent candidate for the Regional School Committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeff?
I just want to stand up and say thank you, Mark, for the kind words, and I would love the opportunity to continue to serve. I've enjoyed my 4 years with the Dover School Committee. I believe there's a lot of work we can continue to do at the regional level, so I appreciate the support. Thank you.
Are there any other nominations for Dover Regional School Committee?
Hi, I actually, I'm a current member, and Colleen Burt, 53 Yorkshire Road. I am currently on the Regional School Committee, and I have 1 year left in my term. We will be relocating, my family will be relocating for the near future, so my seat will be vacant. So I am here to nominate Lindsay Nye for the remainder of my term, the 1 year. Is that acceptable?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
great. Thank you.
Sure. Lindsay Nye is the person I choose to nominate to take my seat for lots of reasons. Lindsay and her family have lived in Dover for 12 years. She currently has a graduating senior and twin 8th grade boys attending her middle and high schools. Lindsay is a member of the Chickasaw Nation of Oklahoma, and she attended MIT, graduating with a degree in Earth, Atmospheric, and Planetary Science. She has worked for 25 years in digital marketing and creative technology enablement. She is currently Vice President of Engineering at Neurable, a company that develops headphones that can identify and interpret brain signals. She loves her job because it allows her to be part of making lives better through science, which is also evident through her resume of volunteering here in Dover. Lindsay founded the Chickering Science Fair in 2015 and continued to head that committee for 7 years. As a Chickering parent whose children benefited from the science fair, I'm very grateful to Lindsay for that. She also coordinated curriculum enrichment and coached soccer and baseball while her children were at Chickering. As her children have graduated to the middle and high schools, Lindsay has been a member of the High School Guidance Advisory Council, working with students and administration for the past 2 years, as well as being a Massachusetts Region 5 Middle School Science and Engineering Fair judge since 2023. In addition to enriching our schools, Lindsay was one of the original founders of the Dover Music Fest, which I think you'll agree has become a town favorite. She's also been the Dover Moms Association webmaster since 2019. She's been an active member of the Dover Recycling Committee for 6 years, and her daughter actually became known to the school committee within the last few years. Some of you remember this. Her daughter Amber came and presented to the school committee about the importance of Lunar New Year and the traditions that were followed and the types of time of day that needed. She really made us think deeply about the experience of all different people celebrating all different religions. And she proceeded to then work with the administration and the school committee, this is Amber, taking a lot of initiative to help us change our policy. So we actually haven't changed the calendar itself, but we have changed our policy about work, homework, testing, projects when they're due, based on this deeper understanding of the student experience. So I really appreciate her daughter as well. Lindsay, her family, they demonstrate excellence in our community, and we are so lucky to have her. I know that she will be a thoughtful, creative, and caring member of the Regional School Committee. Thank you.
May I have a second? Thank you. Lindsay, if you're here.
Hello, everyone I don't know. I'm Lindsay Nye, 166 Walpole Street. Thank you so much, Colleen, for reaching out to me about this position. I really enjoyed the time I spent on the recycling committee. I left that committee a few years ago, and I've been thinking about how I can get re-engaged with our community because I love it here so much. So when Colleen reached out to me, I knew that this was the perfect position for me to step into. As she mentioned, my daughter Amber is a senior, and I've spent the last year helping her navigate her path into college and learning about what schools all around our nation are doing. And so I'm excited to bring this knowledge to our town and help just make all the decisions and everything needed for schools committee. Thank you.
Okay, any other nominations for Dover-Sherburne Regional School Committee? Hearing none, we'll move on to library trustee. Are there any nominations? Please.
Hello again. I'm Rob Andrews, 35 Miller Hill, and current chair of the Library Trustees. It's my pleasure to nominate Lawrence Magowski to join the trustees of the Dovertown Library. A lawyer by training, she has spent the past 18 years working for the Quebec Government Office in Boston, where she recently retired from her chief of staff position to focus on her family and us here in Dover. Laurence and her family have been residents of Dover since 2016, where she's always been part of the fabric of town, volunteering with the Dover Mothers Association, parent-teacher organization, serving as both curriculum enrichment coordinator and room parent, volunteering with the Chickering Spelling Bee, and helping Ms. Ring in the Chickering Library. In addition, Laurence has been incredibly active with the Friends of the Dovertown Library, serving 2 years as fundraising chair, a year as its vice president, and a year as president. During her tenure as president, Laurence gained a lot of inside information about the library's mission and governance, understanding the role that the trustees play. She also was able to smash prior fundraising goals, raising significant funds for the library. All of these experiences make Laurence the most qualified to serve as a trustee. Thank you.
May I have a second? Thank you. Is she here? Yes.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My name's Laurence Magowski. I'm at 24 Old Farm Road. You might already have all met me at the library. I'm always there. I'm a daily patron of the library since 2016, actually. When we first moved here, my daughter was just under a year, and my husband went back to work, and I was just so lonely. I would walk, we're on Old Farm, and I would walk to the library and do all these children programs and do this super awesome fun time. And I met some really friendly people. I befriended the staff, anybody that would talk to me, basically. And I've just fell in love with this warm, welcoming place that broke my new mom isolation. And they hosted, I think it was the second Cheers for Books at the time. And I talked to plenty of strangers, which I don't like to do, but I did it. And then after a few drinks, I went up to the table where the volunteers were, and I said, I want to get involved. And so I did, and I became a member of the Friends. And today, I'm being nominated to be part of the trustees, and I could not be happier about it. So you might find me at the mahjong table upstairs or at the children programming. Just come up and talk to me, share the love with the library. And I think my experience, as Rob mentioned, as fundraising chair and then president of the board, coupled with my skills in strategic planning and policy development implementation, will be valuable skills to bring to the trustees. And I cannot wait to work with the library director, its staff, the friends, and the board of the trustees to, for the good of our beloved library. Thank you.
Are there any other nominations for library trustee? Please.
Carolyn Ringel for Abbott Road, and I am here to nominate Rob Andrews for the library board, who you all know. So I'm. Thank you, Robin. I am also on the Board of Library Trustees. Although, if you know anything about Rob, you'll know that pretty much you could be on almost any committee in this town and you would run across him. He's lived in Dover for almost 12 years. Prior to the birth of his sons, Rob worked for 15 years in college access work, serving as a university admissions officer and as a college counselor, mostly serving high-achieving first-gen college-bound students. As a stay-at-home dad, Rob gives his free, and I'm going to put that in quotes, time to the community, serving as secretary of the Friends of the Dover Library, member of the Chickering Schools Advisory Council, volunteering with the PTO as a room parent, and on the Hospitality Committee, and also serving on the Warrant Committee for 4 years, including one as chair. Outside of town, Rob serves as one of the vice presidents of a synagogue and is an active member with Jewish Family Services of Mestra West. Currently, Rob has served 2 years as trustee of the Dover Town Library, this year as chair. It is mind-boggling to me that he managed to fit all of that in a normal 24-hour day, but Rob is incredibly devoted and efficient when he sets his mind to something, and we've all been incredibly lucky to have him on the library for the last couple of years, and I can say, having served for the past year, he's not just a terrific member of the Trustees Committee, he's also been a terrific chair and steers us well. So he's proud of the Dover Library and what such a small organization can accomplish, and I think we as a town are extremely lucky to have him, and I hope we have him for another 3 years.
May I have a second? Thank you. Rob?
Hi, my kids see the library as like their living room, so we're there all the time. I love the library. I think more importantly, I love the fact that the trustees focus on government and budget, and for better or for worse, being on the warrant committee has kind of influenced a lot of the way in which we think about the budget of the library, and we're really laser focused on what our actual role is, and letting the librarians and the staff do their work. And so it's been a wonderful 2 years, and the library is amazing, and we have a wonderful public-private partnership with the Friends of the Dover Library and other fundraising sources that I think could be a model for other parts of town, where we don't have to rely just on the taxpayer for making something really wonderful in town. So I hope to serve for another 3 years to kind of push that forward down the line. So thank you.
Are there any other nominations for library trustee? Hearing none, I declare those nominations closed. We'll move on to the planning board, and I have a position for a 5-year member. Please.
Hi, I'm Jody Shue. I live at 10 Main Street, and I'm currently serving as the vice chair of the planning board. And I'm very excited to nominate Valerie Lynn to serve the full 5-year term on the planning board. Val has lived in Dover for the last 12 years with her husband Sam and her 3 children. She worked as a critical care nurse and then transitioned to healthcare supply chain management before leaving the workforce to raise her 3 children and move to Dover. She has served in a lot of capacities here in town. Many of you probably know her. The Chickering PTO, the Dover Mothers Association, Friends of the Dover Greenway, and the Dover Church. She served in municipal volunteer roles with the Dover Parks and Rec, the Carroll Community Center Feasibility Study Committee, and more recently as a member of the Town Administrator Search Committee. She created the Dover Tree Preservation Committee in November of 2022 and currently serves as its chair. And for the last 3 years, I've had the pleasure of working with Val in her capacity as an associate member of the Planning Board, where she's been learning about and contributing to zoning-related topics impacting Dover. About 6 months ago, she was appointed to fill a vacated seat as a full planning board member. We have a 2-year associate position, which is sort of a learning role, no vote, and full members can vote. So she's been a full member for about the last 6 months, and tonight is running to fill a 5-year position on the planning board. She says she's truly enjoyed each of her volunteer roles in getting to know the many wonderful individuals who she's served with, as well as the families and neighbors she's had the opportunity to befriend over the years. So can I get a second for Val Lynn for the 5-year? Thank you.
Thank
and
you.
Unfortunately, Val's not here to speak on her behalf. So
Thank you so much. And we also have an opening, are there any other nominations for the 5-year position? Hearing none, we'll move on to the Planning Board Associate 2-year position. Jody.
Okay. Katie. So tonight I'm delighted to also nominate Katie Graves Williams, who has joined us on the planning board in that associate member capacity for a shorter period of time, but she's already making an impact. A little bit of background about Katie, who will speak for herself shortly, but she has over 20 years of commercial real estate experience, which is an awesome asset to the planning board, with a particular focus on renewable energy and healthcare M&A deals. She's a partner at the law firm of McDermott, Will, and Emery. Originally from Chicago, she has 2 daughters, ages 13 and 14, who are students at the middle school and the high school here in town. Katie enjoys hiking with her husband, who's also an attorney, and the girls and their dogs, but it was Nuanna Woodlands that really drew her to Dover. Me too. She's looking forward to volunteering her time on the planning board and serving the residents of Dover. Thank you for stepping up for it. Can I get a second for Katie? Thank you. And Katie's here
Thanks,
to...
Jody.
Oh.
Katie, would you like to say something?
Hi, everyone. It's nice to meet you. I'm just going to make this brief. Thank you for welcoming us into Dover. You know, more importantly than all of my years in the commercial real estate experience, I have even more years as being a neighbor and a homeowner. And I hope that these qualities actually will, all of them together, will make me a really good planning board member for the meetings that are to come. So thank you.
Are there any other nominations for Planning Board Associate? Hearing none, I would close those nominations, and we will move forward to Board of Health. Does anybody have a nomination for the Board of Health? Please.
Hi, I'm Kay Peterson, the Chair of the Board of Health. I'm here tonight to nominate John Quackenbush for re-election to the Board of Health. John and his wife Mary moved to Dover in, I'm sorry, I'm at 25 Wilsondale Street. John and Mary moved to Dover in 2005 and became interested in participating in town governance from the get-go, and they unfortunately had to spend their first town meeting sitting in the non-voting section because they had just moved to town and weren't able to vote, but they nonetheless stayed committed to the town. Mary has been a member of the Town Report Committee for many years, and John has participated not only in the Board of Health, but in the Capital Budget Committee, where he's been a member for more than 7 years. He's worked with other people on that committee to bring a more systematic approach to the capital budget request process. In 2020, during the pandemic, I think because he probably couldn't go into work, he stepped forward to assist the Board of Health in some of our meetings to provide advice and scientific insight to our deliberations. And then in 2022, he decided to run for election to the Board of Health. So he joined us at that time in a formal capacity. He's worked with the board on many different issues since that time. Fortunately, it's not all been COVID, and we've moved on to other issues, but he's participated in an important way in helping us enhance the professionalism of the board. We've now hired our first health director, Jason Belmonte, and our first public health nurse, Gail Varsa. He's also helped us to update regulations and policies, and some of those have included our approach to tobacco licensing. We've reviewed our inspection fee schedules, licensing of trash haulers, and John's helped us make our annual flu clinic much more efficient. In his other life, his professional life, he's a professor and he's chair of the Department of Biostatistics at the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. He also has an appointment at Brigham and Women's Hospital and Dana-Farber Cancer Institute as a professor. He earned a PhD in theoretical physics, and in 1992 received a fellowship to join the Human Genome Project, working at the Salk Institute and at Stanford University. And then he came to Harvard in 2005. John is a strong advocate for public health. He's a careful and thoughtful critical thinker and an exceptional communicator. He's very committed to our community and is a proud resident of Dover and is a great candidate for re-election to the Board of Health.
May I have a second? John?
So I'm John Quackenbush. I live at 86 Walpole Street. I follow the rules. And I want to thank Kay very much for the kind nomination. I always hate hearing myself described because it sounds really good. And now I have to live up to that. But thank you, Kay, very much for the kind nomination. But also thanks to all of you for trusting me for the last 3 years to serve as a member of the Board of Health. As Kay said, when Mary and I moved here just about 20 years ago, we looked at Dover and we thought, wow, this is an interesting town. And I distinctly remember our first morning waking up after sleeping on the floor and looking out. We lived at 12 Walpole Street then, and there was a flagpole in the front yard, and we saw a turkey out there in front of the flagpole, and we thought, wow, this is America, right? And we fell in love with the town, and our love affair with the town has not ended since. We really, truly believe in this town and are committed to supporting it. And that includes supporting the health and welfare of our citizens here. And as Kay mentioned, I'm really proud of some of the things that we have been able to do over the past 3 years as a Board of Health, including our most recent hire of a public health nurse, who we think is really going to help improve the standard of life, especially for some of our senior residents, and provide a level of support that we haven't been able to in the past. And I hope you'll trust me for another 3 years to work with the board and with all the members of town to continue to make improvements that are going to help advance our town as a beacon in the local area for what good public health policy should be. So thank you very much, Kay. Thank you, everyone. And I hope you honor me by letting me serve another 3 years.
Are there any other nominations for the Board of Health office? Hearing none, I declare the nominations for that position closed. We will now open nominations for the Cemetery Commission. Please.
My name is Fred Sears, 5 Meeting House Hill. I'm going to place in nomination the name of Mariah Reese. Anyone second that? Second, sir. Thank you. Mariah is the present chair of the Cemetery Commission, and I am also serving on that board. I've been there for 2 years. Mariah's been there for several years, and the town should be very pleased for that. She participates in things like a meditation garden, which has totally improved the cemetery when people can go and just enjoy the cemetery as a public park. We are now working, and she's spearheading that, something called the columbarium, which we find necessary because of certain space limitations. I will say that she's the glue that's keeping things going in projects. And to paraphrase things that have been said about her, she's in the helping profession. If you come within Mariah's sphere, your life will truly be blessed. Thank you.
And Mariah is here. There you are. I saw you, but I didn't know where you went. Sorry.
Thank you so much. So, hello, I'm Mariah. Yes, there's a lot of competition for this position, so I understand that. But I will tell you I'm a great fit. So I've had a private practice here in Dover since 1999. I'm a specialist in grief and loss, and I'm an end-of-life doula. So what does that mean? I spend a lot of hours in my week guiding families and individuals through some of the most challenging, painful, private, and unexpected times. This is a real passion for me, and serving on the commission is just an extension of my commitment to really loving people and helping them through suffering. And I'm really blessed to be working with Rusty and Fred and Carol, who's not here tonight. We're a force to reckon with. And I just, I feel very blessed, as you say, Fred, to have people I work with who share my commitment in keeping our Highland Cemetery just this really special place for people to find as a final resting place for their loved ones. So thank you for your support.
Are there any other nominations for the Cemetery Commission? Hearing none, I declare that nomination closed. We'll move on to constables. We have 3 for 3-year positions. Yes.
I'm Elizabeth Devine at 17 Haven Terrace, and I would like to place the name of Andre Boudreau up for nomination. He is currently a constable and would like to continue.
Thank you. May I have a second? Second.
Andre grew up in Dover, went to Dover Public Schools, left for a while and came back. He is now living at 72 Main Street with his wife Elizabeth and 2 children. And he feels it's important to give back to the community. He has enjoyed his position as a constable and would like to continue that position. So hopefully you will consider him when you go to vote. Thank you.
Is there any other nomination for constable? Please.
Good evening, folks. I'm Alan Heinlein, and I live at 80 Main Street, Dover. It's my pleasure to nominate Christopher Jackman for nominee for for the constable position. Funny story, Chris and I first met about 58 years ago in kindergarten at Chickering School here in Dover. So Chris and I have remained friends for our lives, our families as well. We're both lifetime residents of Dover. When I think of the Jackman family, and Chris in particular, I think of the word service. So Chris is a retired member of the U.S. Navy, and I thank Chris for his service. Chris has also spent a lot of time in the community serving as constable, as well as a part-time position a long time ago as the head of the Boy Scout troop, and which is an honor to do in Dover. So again, I'd like to nominate Chris for constable moving forward.
Thank you. Second? Chris?
I look around the room and I can probably count as many people have more time in town than Alan and I do. I grew up in town. When I got in the Navy, I thought, I'm out. I got away from Dover. But after 4 years, I couldn't wait to come home. So you probably have, some of you probably have teenagers that are saying the same thing. But I just grew up watching my neighbors all involved in town government and was trying to find something to do, and I was asked one day, could you fill in as constable? And I'm like, this is great, because I was done with Scouts, my boys were in college, my daughter had moved away, and it just, I really love being involved, and it gives me a chance to see some old friends and neighbors from Scouts, Cam, Patricia, yeah, please consider me for constable again. Thank you.
Are there any other nominations for constable? Oh, please, go right ahead.
Chris Jackman, 14 Tisdale Drive. I'd like to nominate Alan Heinlein for constable. Alan already took my first point. 58 years, we met in kindergarten together. So we were in Boy Scouts together. Well, Mom sent me off to Severian in high school, not my brother, but just me. I don't know why, but I've known Alan all my life. Alan's been involved in the Larry B. Whiting Trust for several years, coaching soccer on the professional level in Massachusetts. I mean, his family has such a service. His grandfather was one of the first police chiefs in town, the first police chief in town. And, you know, constable's not the chief of police, but it's a first step. So, you know, please consider Alan.
May I have a second? Thank you. No, you won't.
I gladly accept the position, and as Chris said, I'm really happy to follow in the footsteps of my grandfather, who was the first chief, my dad, who was chairman of the Board of Selectmen, town moderator, my brother David, who served on the warrant committee, chairman of the Board of Selectmen, et cetera. So I'm excited to keep that tradition. My mom was involved in Council of the Aging, so the Heinleins keep going, and we'll be here for a long, long time. Thank you very much.
Are there any other nominations for the position of constable? Hearing none, I declare those nominations closed. We will move on to Park and Recreation. We have 2 3-year positions. And Mr. Boland.
Good evening. Chris Boland, Tower Drive. I'm chairman of the Park and Rec Commission. For the first spot, I'd like to nominate Eric Loeffler. Eric joined the commission in 2013 and is seeking re-election for, I think, his 5th term. Eric joined the commission and has been a valuable member of the commission over that time. He has 4 children, with 2 in college and 2 in high school. Eric is seeking re-election and continues to be committed to supporting the work of the commission. And I think also, I just want to add to that, Eric has been a real valuable partner because he's got a real estate law background and he's been very involved in certain activities, especially in a parkland responsibility it's good to have. He's also currently actively involved in the rail trail effort, and so there's just a lot of value to having someone with that background, and he's a great guy.
May I have a second? Thank you. Is Eric here?
Eric is not here this evening.
Okay. Thank you, Chris. We have a second position for Park and Recreation for a 3-year position. Oh, would you like to speak, Chris?
Let's see here. Chris Boland again. I'd like to nominate Rachel Wilkes. Rachel and her husband Aaron have lived in Dover for 8 years and have 2 children at Chickering School. Rachel coaches for Dover Sherburne soccer, youth softball, and Park and Recreation basketball. Her kids attend Park and Rec summer camp and have participated in various programs including tennis, musical theater, hikes, and crafts. Rachel is excited about the opportunity to serve the community by joining the commission.
Thank you. Is Rachel here? Okay. Oh. Rachel.
Bring this way down. Thank you very much, Chris. I'll just hold it. Thank you very much, Chris. Appreciate the nomination. So in my job, my real job, I work with grown-ups, and I always tell people that my real passion is to be able to work with kids. So love all the time that we get to spend coaching the kids, the variety of different programs, and really look forward to joining the Parks and Rec Commission to look at the different programs that we have. My family has benefited from them tremendously, and as a full-time working parent, I'm keenly aware of some of the needs and maybe different options we have for programming to support families. So thank you very much for the nomination.
Good job. Okay, so that finishes all nominations unless anybody has a surprise. Oh, yes, there is a surprise, and I messed it up. Sorry. So we have one more nomination. One more nomination for Park and Rec. It is a one-year position. Oh, would you like to speak, Chris?
I'd like to nominate Sarah Jardine. Sarah was appointed to the commission to fill the vacancy left by Kathy Weld's passing. She and her family moved to Dover in 2018 and have been active in the community, with Sarah serving as president of the CDC Children's Parents Association and volunteering at Chickering, Girl Scouts, and the Dover Mothers Association. Her daughters in kindergarten and second grade participate in park and recreation programs, and Sarah is passionate about supporting both her family and the community.
Second. Is Sarah here?
Sarah is not here this evening.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Okay, so are there any other nominations for the one-year Park and Recreation position? Hearing none, I declare all nominations are closed. I will now direct the caucus clerk to cast one ballot for the caucus, which reflects the names that were put forward tonight. Just a reminder, town meeting is Monday, May 5th, and if necessary, a second night will be held on Monday, May 12th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Town elections will be held on Monday, May 19, 2025 from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Registration for both town meeting and town election will be accepted at the town clerk's office until Friday, April 28, 2025 at 5 p.m. I would like to ask all nominees to please sign the caucus certificate and pick up the campaign finance materials from me before leaving the hall tonight. Do I have a motion to adjourn the caucus? Second? All in favor? All opposed? Okay, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for putting up with me.